I'm not going to go over what happened earlier. That was painful, but it had to happen, and we need to have a place where we can all, we may not all agree, but we can be in harmony at the same time, even in our not agreeing. So I thank you all for
even in our schisms,
right?
But recognize the schism.
Yes,
don't ignore them. Take responsibility.
Yes. So, and August 27th is going to be amazing. We're going to have all kinds of little things that you are going to want to be a part of on that day. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to being able to be, as we say, up close and personal. And I think you will appreciate that day and the information that you'll be able to glean from it. Again, it will not be televised. It will not be live streamed. And we're not sure if it will even be released, but we will be able to tell you things that you can definitely share with your loved ones and those that you're in association with, and hopefully give you things that you'll be able to take back with you that will assist you further in uplifting fallen humanity. Gershie?
Yeah, so thank you all for spending this time with us this evening, and trust that we helped or encourage many of you to take a strong and deliberated stand in helping the great missionary work of uplifting fallen humanity. Please subscribe to Dr. G's new YouTube channel. Dr. G is official. YouTube requires 1,000, number 12, which many of you who have the old newspaper, the Al Moroccan Star, you'll see the cover of the superliminal on the back of the newspapers. And you see old Moorish lantern, essence of sage, and that's the cover of the superliminal. But anyway, I want to share with the Intuit line because many of the social political activities that are taking place now at Midgard to continue on the part of some of the hybrid Europeans to in their continued attack against Asia and Africa and the descendants of the ancient Lemurians, Moors, Hittites, Canaanites, etc., and also with many of the conflicting aspects of the culling practices of the Inquisition and the misrepresentations in government, the de facto operations on multiple levels of human existence, the constructed fictions created for stealing birthrights, and also the suppression of our people on multiple levels and the designed miseducation of our people, particularly in the West or the Maghreb, accentuated by the operatives and the founders of the General Education Board of 1902, set forth by John D. Rockefeller and Frederick T. Gates, which I'm sure you're familiar with that name, Gates, and the foundation behind human destruction coming from the operatives who still operate that foundation. And so I wanted to share some aspects of the respect and reclaiming of your intuitive mind and some aspects of philosophy and knowledge about it, and why also take in consideration why many people don't talk about it. Or people who do know about it, and particularly the priesthood and people in government, why they don't talk about it. So we're sharing some aspects with.
Before you go any further, Grand Sheik, I want to just request that those of you who are on the chat right now, if you would share on your social media pages and so forth that we are on tonight, because some people did not get the memo that we're not going to be on tomorrow. So if you could share that we're on live right now, we would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Now, so here is, we'll share some notes that I could glean and some supportive aspects. So this would be a brief on the nature of the Moore's Order of the Round Table, lesson number 12, the superliminal. respect the intuitive mind. In the ongoing quest by some among us working for human liberation and for self-sought ascension, reflection may serve us well, and we may find ourselves upon honest observation buried within the myriad of the twisted dynamics of pseudo-religious dogmatism. This is more often than not conjoined with social political distortions. And while these social solace dogma paradigms of vague and worshipful energy placements are satisfactory for some souls, such artifice chainings are into its sense to be neglectfully restricting and growth retarding for others. And so to assist those who are sympathetic for truth, we choose at this juncture to consider some of the elements related to the intuitive mind. For purposes of cognate-directed considerations, we share some denotative meanings and related synonyms of and for the words intuit and intuition. Intuit. Intuit is a transitive verb and in its operative sense means to know intuitively. In closer inspection of the intuitive characteristics, we share the denotative meaning of intuition. Intuition. Intuition is a noun and is etymon derived from the Moorish Latin word intuitus, and it means to express or expresses as a look at and or looking at. Intuitive or intuition relates to the ability or the capacity to comprehend or to see something immediately and to grasp and comprehend the nature of, the intent of, or meaning of a thing. And intuition relates to the mind's extrasensory perception as applied to and of things, of beings, or of situations, etc. Intuition is associated to the acts or the faculty of knowing and or sensing, absent of and without the conjoining of reasoning or the usages of rational processes. Consider the nature of the mind in comprehending, knowing or no being, and akin to the cognate, quote unquote, I am, in relationship to the divine mind of the higher self, and less burdened with the constrictions imposed by dogmatic belief systems or political suppressions as socially imposed upon humanity through the ages. And for the most part, these said constrictions were formulated by a narcissistic and selfish group of priests and de facto rulers, most commonly referenced as, quote unquote, the bishopric, as associated with Rome. Reverting back to the word intuition, also consider a sense of something not materially immediate or cognate supports, or evident or deducible, and more in the nature of impression. Those among us who have arrived at or who demonstrate a less constricted approach to and an operative approach to the respect for the intuit or the intuitive mind are often referred to as intuits. Intuition. Synonyms of intuition are divination, clairvoyance, intuitiveness, seership, sixth sense, instinct, and the like, etc. And for purposes of lesson number 12, the superliminal, we present these for your consideration. A, the conscious mind. B, the subconscious mind. C, the supra-conscious mind. In consideration of the conscious mind, we relate to the capacity of, the power of, and or the faculty of knowing one's own thoughts, of one's own mental operations, and of the knowing that man, the species hominidae, is a conscious being, capable of retrieving memory or without the extraneous information, etc., as not being conscious of the fact, etc. In consideration of the subconscious mind, we relate to that aspect of mind, whereas one is deemed not wholly conscious or operatively not conscious or partially conscious. In consideration of the supra-conscious mind, we relate to that aspect of the mind, whereas one is noted as being mentally highly cognitive, etc. Supra relates to that which above is above, over, greater than, superior to, over, superior to, beyond, and transcending. In relationship to lesson number 12, the supraliminal, we address some of the aspects of being or seeking to be above the limiting threshold of mere consciousness and or sensation, and more toward the higher mind or higher self, cognition, and the capacities associated with it, conjoined with the capacities to more stabilize the seeing or knowing achieved. A supraliminal purpose notation for lesson number 12. This aspect of the supraliminal, lesson number 12, is deemed as a counter invocation of God, acronym GOD, God or government order of divinity, as distinguished from God, the acronym government ordinance departments, as constructed via organized corporate civic orders of governments, as founded upon the three-dimensional planes of existence, both positive and negative. And thus we are distinguishing the divine or incorporeal and ethereal aspects of the corporeal aspects of our operative existence at Midgard Earth. Questions? And so a noted aspect of active supraliminal mind. So we look at and consider this. There are three aspects of brain in incorporeal form and expressed in the corporeal physical body of man. The first aspect of the brain is via the physical brain organ located in the head. The second aspect of the operative brain is located in the physical heart of man. The third aspect of the operative brain is located in the physical stomach and gut of man. The brain is noted as the organic portion and part of the physical man that includes vertebrate central nervous system, which is enclosed within the cranium and is continuous with the spinal cord and composed of gray matter and white matter. Brain controls many bodily activities and is known as the seat of consciousness, of memory, and of emotions. Brain is noted for its intellectual abilities, intellectual powers of mind, and of intelligence. An important aspect of divine being is to know that the three brains, the cranial, the heart, and the stomach gut, are electrically and incorporeally connected. Now the questions. Why is it, with this being known factors about the human, why is it that the priesthood doesn't go into this as a lesson of everyday traditional custom and teaching or philosophy? And why is it when the priesthood or politicians or people in rulership suppress the knowledge of this, of the three brains and their connections in relationship to the masses in general? Well, my statement is this. The major reason is because they have misrepresented spirituality. They have deliberately misrepresented religion. They have deliberately misrepresented the true principles of honorable government, etc., for the purposes of enslaving humanity, and have artificially suppressed these aspects of knowledge relative to people knowing themselves in order that people would submit to things that are contrary to their best interest in both the spiritual and the physical aspects of life, period. That is a fact. And by people not being aware of the connection of the three brains, in fact, are less apt to resist or to reject misrepresentations of life, forms of life, their connections to each other, the fields, the electrical fields, and the incorporeal energy fields that connect us all, and thereby less apt to ascend to activating them and liberating ourselves from the dark priesthood who have been operating on or at Midgard for quite some time. And also with the knowing that the time would come relative to the cosmos, sometimes symbolized by the crescent and the star, that humanity would evolve even and in spite of artificial impressions or suppressions, and that we would go to higher planes of life, sometimes referred to as higher dimensions, and we would break free of the artificial bindings that have been put on humanity and at Midgard that's been operative for quite some time. And so due to also to the fact, the reality fact, the cosmos fact, that this energy, transition of energy is already arriving on Earth, you will see a lot of things taking place relative to the de facto governing powers and the priesthood exercising more de facto powers to suppress humanity on multiple levels. However, in spite of all their activities, their institutions, which were created in the third dimensional planes, have limited or no effectual powers to continue in their existence in the degrees or the energies of the ascending, what you would call energies or dimensions or planes, etc. So at this time, we're experiencing a lot of the chaos that is going on for all institutions that were created or founded in the third dimensional energy, or what you call the Piscean age of I believe, are being dismantled purposely and also by the forces of nature. So it's unavoidable. And so we're sharing some of the superliminal to help all of us along to start being cooperative with each other in the necessity of instituting and activating love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice functionally, and not just by verbal claim. And so the questions arise. What are some of them?
You mean in the chat? Let me see if anybody's asking anything. Pretty sure they're just listening. We're looking for questions with regard to what Grand Sheik just shared. But let me just add, you know, I knew you were talking about the three brains, and I was kind of like in two places at the same time. But I do know we have, you know, the brain, that the one in our head, the one in our heart, the one in our gut.
That's the one you refer to most often.
Right, the one in our heart and the one in our gut. And a lot of times people say, I have a gut feeling. We talk about intuition.
Because that is the intuitive mind.
Right.
People know it and they don't know it at the same time.
Absolutely.
Meaning that it's rarely emphasized. Even though people, you know how this is where, so now you're dealing with consciousness, right? They know it, yet they're not cognizant. So that means that they're staying in the level of the subconscious mind, the chamber, the lower chambers.
Right.
And so when you're looking at even what you call circle 7, so you look at the circle of the head, right? You got 7 orifices, 2 orifices, the ears, 2 nostrils, 2 eyes, and 1 mouth.
Right.
That's 7 in that circle.
The
senses, name the senses.
Taste, touch.
They call them the 5, don't they?
Yeah.
Continue.
Smell,
hearing,
auditory, and what else is there? Taste, we touch, we see, sight.
Yep. All right, so sit now. When you start considering what they all represent, Some are referenced as physical, but their actions are actually abstract. As an example, the sight here is an electrical reflection from the outside in, coming back like a cone that goes to the brain. The brain deciphers it and draws a picture. Therefore, this is why symbolism is used to speak to the brain from ancient time to present.
Absolutely, because sometimes some things like words might change or so forth, but symbols are more universal.
And this is also why many ancient symbols of Africa, Ikuta, and the Yucatan, are misrepresented by the priesthood as being negative so that you would reject them and not liberate yourself from them. Yet they use them to empower themselves over the masses.
For instance, and we brought this up, I think I brought this up before in talking to, just giving some commentary to what you're saying. Traditionally, the symbol of the eagle.
Yes.
So
Aquila.
Okay. But the eagle has been given sort of what's the majestic animal. We're not going to negate the beauty and majesty of the eagle, but the symbolism universally for the eagle is war, control, government, and then by contrast, the serpent has been given the negative when it's really that's knowledge, wisdom. That's that kind of
Now, yes, continue. Keep on. Whatever you feel, speak. Go ahead.
No, I'm just
put it out. No, put it out there because don't hold anything back.
So so those things symbolically, I was looking at a show that actually was breaking down various hieroglyphic symbols that we see. So, for instance, many people have seen, and I know we're getting off subject a little bit, but many of us have seen the pictures of the hieroglyphs, and then you'll see sometimes it looks like they'll say, well, that's the Anunnaki, and they had bird heads, and they had human bodies and animal heads. The heads apparently always depict sort of like where that being